Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Dawnbringers, The Forge of Fury, Season 2, Episode 5. Welcome to the Glitterhame. Right here on twitch.tv/Mini Terrain Domain, happening every Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. But of course, you know that if you're in the chat with us watching live right now, which we greatly appreciate. We just love this game so much. We love getting together every Thursday, and we love that those of you in the audience that you just like hanging out with us, and those that are watching later on YouTube. If you are here for the first time, you can catch up on The Forge of Fury on youtube.com/Mini Terrain Domain. The first 4 episodes are up there right now, as is Dawnbringers, The Sunless Citadel, which is our Season 1 of this campaign. Featuring many of the same, all of the same players, minus Ted, who just joined in the second season, and 3 of the same characters. So you definitely, if you haven't seen it before, you should go check that out. Now, I'm going to keep the announcements and all that nonsense about different things about the channel to a minimum, because when we take our break, there's a brand new promo reel. You'll see some familiar faces in there. I'm trying to cut down on the amount of announcements, and I finally have a promo reel that will run during our 10-minute intermission later on. And that'll be a work in progress. And there's even a cool behind-the-scenes camera, so you can actually see my setup. You'll see me get up, go get a drink or whatever at the break, and then come back, and you'll get a sense of when we're about to go live. But one thing that I really do want to mention, and I'm going to type this in the chat right now. I am right now in the process of finally running the 10K giveaway. It is a contest where you can win one of 3 Game Master bundles. All of the details, including the link, are right there in the chat on Twitch. 3 winners will get the D&D 5e starter set, 6 starter set minis, and 6 sets of dice. One lucky winner, one grand prize winner, will get all of that stuff, plus a 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide, a 5th edition Monster Manual, a 5th edition Player's Handbook, and a 5th edition Dungeon Master Screen Reincarnated. And just so you know, there's no fooling. Look, I've got all the dices right here, still sealed in the packages. I've got still sealed in plastic wrap, starter sets. It's just so awesome having this stuff here and knowing that in less than 2 months, as we drive towards 10,000 subscribers, that 3 somebodies are going to get these cool D&D prize packs. So, without further ado, we're going to get started playing some Dungeons and Dragons. Now, I believe last week it was Scotty who did us a recap, and I would like to open the floor to whoever else would like to recap, not necessarily the entire campaign, at least what happened in the last session, but put your flavor on it, however, for a point of inspiration. I'm going to say V doesn't want to do it because she just got up and left. That's one way to avoid doing a recap. So, anybody? I'll take that. Well, I'll take the point of inspiration.
Apparently, nobody wants to do it, so I'll jump in. So we started off on the road, finally being able to go get some action as we're looking to head towards the Stone Tooth and investigate, the orcs who attacked the village, who are potentially looking for, some kind of ancient, relic or artifact. So we adventure. We have some conversations, and as we're getting close, we encounter a orc, wagon or cart. There's two orcs on with a wagon that's being pulled by an auroch. We quickly dive to either side, stealth as best we can, ambush, kill one orc, and Griveth, takes one captive after whole fighting ensues. Fig actually or Griveth yells, "Don't kill it." Fig apologizes to the orc. It goes to offer it a hand up. It still gets attacked. They have some communication. We learn that there's a secret entrance besides the main door. Griveth decides he's going to let it go. Cantriel then uses her Misty Step, teleport, in front of it, running away, skewers it with her rapier. It dies right there on her blade. We bury the orcs. We bury the remains that was on the cart of the elf pudding. We set off towards the mountain, sneak around to the side, and we get in to the cave. There's a lizard folk and a bear that we fight, and as soon as that fight is over, that's where we stop. Did I get it all?
Sounds good to me. And while you were recapping, Myth and Gears gifted a tier 1 sub to Erasmus. So, which tells me that Jeremy was not already subscribed to the channel, but that's okay. You are now, and that sub has earned you another domain die. You have 21 domain dice. If you are watching and you're not sure what domain dice are, watch the scroll at the bottom of the screen or type in !domain dice in the chat. Actually, I think if you just type domain dice, it shows up. If you want to learn what other chat commands there are, such as what all the characters are, etc., type in !chat commands, and you can find that stuff out in the chat live on Twitch. All right, excellent recap. Take a point of inspiration, sir. One second. Hold on. Can you guys carry on the conversation a moment? I have something going on. Talk about your characters or something.
All right, so we're in this cave, and for the moment, we believe everything is kind of secure. So I'm certain that we've got some dirty laundry to deal with and air out if apparently Griveth and Cantriel are not happy with how things proceeded with said orc. Would you guys like to discuss?
So hold on. So you're basically saying that, sorry, the kitten is attacking a dot on the wall. So if you hear this very funky scratch sound, it's the kitten. I don't know what's gotten into her. So you're kind of playing like therapist for us right now?
I'm just throwing it out the last few hours. We've been we've been marching, and I try to worry about my companions, and you guys have been kind of glaring at each other, and
it's been a little tense. It
right.
has.
So
Cantriel's just kind of she's like tight-lipped right now, and she's just arching her eyebrow. She's not saying much.
All right, how about you, Griveth? You got anything you gonna say, bring out? I mean, we obviously can't bring back the dead here, but we can at least
wait a minute.
Well, I can't bring back the dead.
Speak for yourself, buddy.
my gods have shown me no extra favor, despite all that I've tried to do. So,
oh God.
Because I honestly, Thorgarn hasn't seen you do anything other than swing a sword, right?
That's a good point.
Me?
Have I seen you use any
and piss off Cantriel?
Well, I mean,
but everybody honestly.
I don't think you were really paying attention when I did my lay hands. So yeah, you haven't really seen me do any magic.
So it would have only been when you laid hands on the orc. You didn't heal.
Right, and you probably didn't even notice that. You were busy searching for loot
at that point in time. So I mean, so what's you're obviously upset with our last fight. What's the issue? It's an orc.
Don't we
Griveth
have
is-
something we need to be doing?
Griveth is going through a lot of changes.
He
He's
looks a bit old to be going through the changes now.
Not that. No, not those changes.
Oh,
Unless
okay.
maybe
Well, I mean,
humans have a second one. I'm not remembering.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't really study human.
I certainly didn't study that part.
Well, he certainly seems to be changing his mind as to when it's convenient to kill someone over elf pudding. Explain to me, why is it all right for you to go absolutely cattywampus crazy and start killing people the second you found the elf pudding before? And yet here we have 6 barrels full right in front of us, and you're going to let one of them go back to their camp? What reason is there?
I wasn't going to let him go back. I told him to leave.
Bullshit. He was on his way and running, and you gave him his word.
The opposite way.
You don't think he can double back? Those cowards. Of course he was going to go back to camp and put us at a risk. That was the stupidest thing I've ever seen you do.
Do you know how fearsome I am? Do you know how afraid of me he was?
I don't care. You want to
Would
be
you
fearsome?
come back and face me? I don't think so.
Actually, I would, little man.
Little?
All
Glare
right.
glares down at you.
All right, you two. I swear things would be so much simpler if you would just. Never mind.
And quite frankly, that's another thing.
Oh.
Did you ever think that for once, the only person who ever asked me how I was doing and how I was feeling was this one over here, a perfect stranger to me. Never bothered to ask what my emotions were before, how I feel about things, just assuming you can put yourself upon me. You need to think about that one.
I see now the error of my ways. Putting trust in people instead of gods.
Making assumptions about people and your gods is probably the better way of looking at things.
So
Now, I'm tired of this, quite frankly. If you
We're here to do a mission. Let's do
exactly.
all right. So can we shake and go back to, trusting one another before we move on? We're not at swords in the back or any of that kind of nonsense, right?
I don't
I
have
have
time
pledged
for that,
myself to
Penny.
this group. There is no way I will betray these people.
All
I
right.
think once they've both had a chance to sleep it off, I think it'll probably be fine. It usually is.
All right. So do we have a DM back yet?
What the hell was going on while I was away? What did I come
The
back
demon ran
to?
away with it.
Killing time.
You wanted us to kill time, so we roleplayed, damn it.
I thought as I left, oh, they're just going to chat about where they are, where their characters are. I come back, Cantriel's tearing into the party. I'm just sitting here going, what? First of all, are they still in character?
Yes.
It's a full-blown
All
family
right.
argument.
Okay, so I do apologize for the sudden disappearance, but I stream. My studio is on an attached porch. We've mentioned this before. This is why it gets really cold out here. But Michigan is having some high winds. I explained this to the players right before the stream. There is a slight possibility that the stream could halt very suddenly if we lose power, because there is a lot of high winds going on. I'm not sure. It sounded, when I stopped suddenly, it almost sounded like somebody like pounded on the door right here. And I've had that happen once before where it was some shifty dude late at night quite a while ago. But I actually had to, he was like
Not good.
some scam thing where they're like, did you lose a dog? And it's apparently like a method that they use to try to like see if anybody's home. That's beside the point. The point is I had to take a walk around the house outside in the rain to make sure one of the trees wasn't falling on the house, because the ceiling above me goes right to the roof, and I think a branch fell on the roof. Something not too big. Scared the crap out of me, and I thought, I better check it out. So
Yeah,
I
don't-
apologize for the sudden interrupt, but It sounds like you all carried on admirably without me.
Yeah, we just had a dwarf barbarian play therapist. No big deal.
It worked out
Right?
beautifully.
Right? Okay. So, obviously, it appears, though, that some people's blood may be up after the recent events. You have, as was mentioned in the recap, you have made your way down inside this region, finding a back door into the dwarven redoubt of Kundrakar. Bypassing the front door, you were immediately set upon by troglodytes, who also happen to have a bear, but you guys made short work of that, and you find yourself in this glittering cavern. Everything is wet. There's the sound of dripping water. Somewhere off in the distance, you can hear the sound of running water. There are, from this cave you are in now, there is the one short passageway that goes towards the open door to the bear cave, where the bear now lies dead. There is a couple of other short offshoots. In total, you have a passage you can go off to the west, and you have two passages that head off more or less towards the south-southeast, with one of them immediately branching two different directions. What would you guys like to do?
So, first thing I would like to do would be to examine the bear den, and once that has been kind of cleared out, making sure there's nothing of value or interest there, kind of throw all the bodies in there and kind of pull the gate closed.
Yeah, it's pretty much just a bear cave. It's where the troglodytes kept their bear, apparently. There's waste, there's animal bones. It looks like whenever they could, the troglodytes would feed the bear. From the looks of the bones, small to medium game, rabbits, deer, things like that. So there's a few bones and stuff in there. Very much plenty of room to stash the 4 troglodyte bodies. Are you going to try to haul the bear into the inside of the pen? Because it's currently in the doorway to the pen, blocking the gate.
Well, I'm thinking that 3 of us are pretty strong here. I think we can manage a bear.
All right.
But the question is why?
You don't leave evidence of passage. Like we're kind of on a stealth mission here. If something discovers that stuff is going on, our job gets much harder.
Well, I'm not really one for sneaking around, but I certainly can lift heavy things, so let's go.
It takes a bit of effort. This is quite the large bear that you have faced off against. But with at least 3 of you helping, you are able to sort of kind of roll it through in and just around the corner. So it's not quite an immediate view. And you can now close the door, the gate to the bear pen.
So after the all the bodies are in, I will go over to the bear. I don't really have much to say in regards to troglodytes. I think they're kind of scum, but to the bear, I'll just put my hand on its fur and just whisper in celestial, a quick prayer of expedience onto the next world, and to apologize that I was unable to give it a proper burial at this time.
While he's doing that, Griveth kind of walks over to Talmud and says, Talmud, I have a question for you.
I might have an answer.
Um, do I smell?
Worse than usual, or
I guess. Do I have some kind of odor?
I mean, a little bit, I suppose.
You,
but most
Talmud,
humans do.
Talmud, you actually
Oh, yes.
smell more than just the
Oh,
human
wow.
odor of sweat and
You-
grime. You smell the scent of the grave. You smell a scent of death and decay that seems to be sort of subtly wafting from Griveth himself.
How close did you get to the orc bodies that Thorgarn was burying?
I had to drag them over.
Well, maybe you need to. Maybe you should wash just a little bit. There's a
Where?
well. I mean, if I have to tell you, then
No, I mean physically. Where would I wash in here?
I don't know. Um, you smell like
I don't smell anything.
you smell like a dead person, like a
What?
corpse. It's faint, but it's kind of one of those things where if you smell a little bit like it, then well, it's a problem.
What? Huh.
I didn't say it was going to be a satisfactory answer.
All right. Well, thanks for your honesty. I don't know what would have caused that.
I don't either. Thorgarn seems to be very worldly and godly. Maybe you can ask him.
Well, if I want to ask you this: if something happens and somehow I change and I'm not me anymore, if some foul thing takes me over, I want you to kill me.
Is this something that is a possibility? Is this something that happens from being a paladin?
I don't want to be tainted.
All right.
If something happens, if I lose control, I'm not saying I will, but I don't know what it is. But I've had these horrible dreams of late. There's some evil coming and I don't know what it means or what it's about.
Well, if it's related, then it's probably no good omen.
And
And
while I'm talking to him about this, I'm kind of like rummaging in my bag, like turning the seed over and over.
but if it does come to it, I'll
All right,
do what I can.
Thank you, friend. Hopefully it won't come to that.
I hope not.
Well, let's get with the rest of the party and see what we're up to, where we're moving on to.
All right.
So we have 3 small tunnels and 1 bigger tunnel. Is
All
that
right. The map screen's still a work in progress, but this is one of the most confusing rooms that you're in. So I will show you the map to refresh your memory. You are in this large area, sort of leftish, that kidney-shaped room over to the right.
That's where the bear cave
That's the
is.
bear cave. So you have this area off to the left, and you have these tunnels down to the bottom. I'm moving my mouse like you can see it.
So you've kind of got like the crab claw and like the little crab leg,
Yeah.
and then you've got the wider tunnels.
Yeah, and then you got those tunnels down at the bottom.
So I think I would recommend we search the crab claw. We got a lot of head nodding in there going on.
Yeah. There's I mean, not that we would necessarily know it, but it certainly seems like a dead end. So it would probably be good to make sure that it was clear before we move past it.
Are you talking about the little thing off to the right?
The little thing off to the left.
The crab claw.
The 2-room looking things.
Oh, the 2-room. Okay.
Oh, you're talking about down and to the left?
Did we come up? Did we come in from the north?
You came in from the north, yes.
So basically, if
Oh,
we
I
would have
see,
come,
okay.
if we would have come in, it would have been to our right, but we were attacked by things in that room. So
Yes.
I would
Okay.
want to look in there before we pressed
Yeah.
on.
That sounds great.
You want to go left or I'm going to
Our
use
right.
cardinal directions. You want to go to the west to this thing that looks like a claw.
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
Kind of shaped like this.
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate the practicality of dwarves.
All right. So you move into this area. Is a very tall cavern. And you can see that there is, as you come through this, after it only takes you about maybe 30, 40 feet, and it opens up into a very high cavern. There's a fissure along the north heading to the west that is actually opened high up towards, possibly even towards daylight, that has stairs that sort of wind their way up and through this fissure. But that's actually across a small stream that is only about 5 feet wide, but comes out of an opening immediately to your right and cuts southward through this tunnel, and it disappears into the rock again. The tunnel extends out and around to the left behind the edge wall of the fissure, and there is one tunnel exit leading to the south. I might be able to let you guys see this.
So taking a look at the walls and the stairs, can I ascertain whether it was dwarven crafted or not?
These are all natural caverns.
Okay.
There you go. I'll let you see that much.
My friends, before we progress, gather around me.
Okay.
And so I kind of lift my hands in some kind of blessing and kind of move them around the group. And my hands kind of glow with light. And three bursts of light shoot out. One shoots into V. I'm sorry, Cantriel. One shoots into Fig. And is Thorgarn still hurt?
I am currently injured, yes.
Okay, one shoots into Thorgarn, and each of you have 5 temporary hit points.
This is the first real display of power that I'm seeing from Griveth. So I'm definitely kind of looking a gall at you as you do this.
Eldath blesses us.
Well, thank you for this, Griveth. I did not
Some
know
of
that you
us.
were possessed. Did not know you were possessed of such
I'm possessed!
power.
Oh God, no!
Now?
He
Now?
runs away. Yeah, no. Kill me now! Kill me now, Talmud!
Oh, no. All right. What would you guys like to do?
What like the stairs you even said seemed natural?
Well, I mean, the stairs are rudimentary stairs. You'd actually have to cross the water and actually go check the stairs out to get a closer look.
Well, then, what do you feel, companions? Do we continue in this direction? We got stairs going up. We kind of believe we were supposed to go up, right? Or do we go back and make sure there's nothing behind us?
I'm not very keen on swimming.
Is there a, like, do we have to swim across the water?
It's 5 feet across. It's a relatively shallow stream.
Talmud, you don't think you can jump that? I mean,
Maybe, perhaps, but
I mean, you're not even wearing armor. I mean,
You can actually see that this thing is only about maybe 18 inches to 2 feet deep.
Talmud's kind of standing at the edge of it, looking at it.
I walk over, I stick my javelin in and push it as hard as I can. It's not even going all the way down.
He takes the javelin, holds it up next to himself. Aye, but it's up to here on me.
I can hold your hand while we cross together if that makes you feel better.
That will not be necessary.
Well, it worked for my cousin when they were a wee child. I'm just saying.
Are you afraid of water, cousin?
Does the water look clean?
There's nothing to be afraid of.
How close up to the edge are you?
I think I'm probably standing in it, looking down into it incredulously.
All right.
Jake, does the water look clean? Jake, does the water look clean?
That was a 20. That was a 24 athletics check. I'm trying to push you in.
I'll fail.
Oh, that's perfect.
Talmud falls face first into the very cold stream, but it is cold, clear water. It begins immediately rushing over you.
I now am envisioning the scene from Men in Tights where the guy is, oh my God, I'm drowning.
Yeah, it's probably a bit like that. He's sputtering water, trying to tread water almost. He flips over onto his back, and then he kind of realizes that he could probably stand up. He stands up, very kind of distrusting of his own legs in this moving water, and he kind of puts his arms out to either side of himself to kind of help balance. And I imagine he looks almost like a wet cat, or his hair and his beard are matted down to him, and he looks wide-eyed and frightened. You Thorgarn?
I am pointing and laughing at you.
Cantriel is going to be doing the same, and I'm going to pat him on the back and in process cure wounds for Thorgarn.
You have to sleep sometime, cousin.
I'm going to grab Talmud by the scruff and kind of pull him out of to the other side.
Fig, while all of these antics are going on, what are you doing?
Fig is just looking at the water and that Talmud and everything that has transpired. And Fig is going to try and cross the little stream.
Before you cross the stream, Fig, you notice something. As everybody is kind of almost joyfully, there's a bit of mirth in all of this. You catch just a slight bit of movement out of your periphery, but not to the side, up. And then you hear
Fig would look up to see what it is.
As you look up, you see what looks almost like a giant mosquito from hell just above your head. And you see 6 more of its friends swarming behind it as your noises have disrupted a hive of stirges.
And I think Fig would just calmly go over to Thorgarn, just kind of tap him on the shoulder. Excuse me.
Yeah. Hi, what's up?
You told me to inform you if I saw anything reptilian. And
Yes.
although I have not seen anything yet, I've determined that what I have seen is comparable to what you told me to do if I saw a reptilian creature.
What's that?
And Fig would just point.
And at that point, all of you can now hear the zzz as these 7 stirges descend upon you. And I'd like you to roll initiative. I knew you guys were in trouble as soon as Thorgarn pushed Talmud into the water. Like, so much for stealth.
I couldn't let that go, and the dice gods have punished me for it. I have a 2 on my initiative. I rolled a natural 1.
Oh no!
Well, I'm glad I didn't strip off my armor and take a bath. I rolled a 21.
21 for Griveth. Cantriel.
16.
All right. Fig.
So
4.
Talmud.
I crit my initiative.
I got a 16.
All right. Your initiative order.
So I'm playing this off as because Fig was taking so long to get it out that there's something there. They're on us before I even have a chance to react.
Yeah, I mean, they were already descending. The only reason you guys didn't hear them was because of all the raucous behavior.
Oh, I was laughing. Yeah, I totally get it.
So
Totally understand.
your initiative order is Griveth. Cantriel and Talmud will be acting together, followed by the stirges. Fig and Thorgarn. So Griveth has 7 stirges, and for any who might not be familiar, I mean, literally just picture a cat-sized or small dog-sized mosquito flying, but 7 of them flying around, because that's exactly what these things are, or what they look like. They aren't actually cats with wings. That would be horrid. Not horrid, but anyway. Griveth, what are you gonna do?
All right. Bradford's Honors going swinging around trying to knock these things out of the air. All right, first attack. That is 15.
15 is, I'm almost 100% positive that's a hit. It is a hit.
All right. That's only shoot, sorry. 7 points of damage.
You find that as you pierce this thing and withdraw your blade, it rapidly just drops to the ground dead. You see that these things, though they appear to be a nuisance, they're not very strong.
Whip.
So that's one attack.
All right. That is a 14.
14 also hits. No damage roll needed because everybody has a high enough bonus that you'd be able to take these things out.
So it's like,
but dear God, don't miss.
2 down.
All right, Cantriel and Talmud. There are 5 stirges remaining.
Is Talmud still in the water, or he's out now, right?
Griveth had pulled him up, kind of up to his feet, so he is standing and dripping.
All right, then I'll look over to Talmud, and I'm going to point to the one I plan on hitting as I stab my rapier at it. And that is, the maths, 13.
you strike at it, seeing Griveth the way he was striking at the two that he killed, and this thing just kind of dodges deftly out of the way of your blade.
Offhand, use my dagger.
Go for it.
Same thing. So going to be missing both.
These things move quickly as you miss it. Talmud, in the same moment, what are you doing?
Talmud is like trying to like reach up to wring out his beard whenever he realizes that these things are now kind of upon them and what's going on. Reaches down and pulls Gerta out and kind of waits for one of them to fly by and like leaps out to swing at it for a 16.
That is going to hit.
Excellent. Do you want me to roll damage or?
No, as you hit this thing, you just sort of knock it flying across the room, and it smacks up against the wall of the cavern to the north and just drops to the floor.
And he very quickly kind of then jumps in the air and kind of swings Gerta straight above his head, trying to get as much height as he can for that's probably not going to do it. No, an 11. As
you swing Gerta, the stirge actually moves up and actually for a moment alights on the end of Gerta and just sort of rides the swing.
Disgusting vile thing. Nope.
Yeah, there's probably all kinds of nasty diseases all over the end of Gerta now. At least malaria.
Malaria, yeah. Malaria from a stirge. Oh.
I need you to make a save against malaria. All right. It is now the Stirge's turn. So, Griveth, Talmud, and Cantriel are all getting attacked. And then I will determine who gets attacked by the other one. So, as these Stirges begin counter-attacking you, that is... need their stat block back. Cantriel, the one comes at you for a 19 to hit.
That'll hit.
And you take...
I try to deflect it with my shield.
Which imposes disadvantage, right? As it looks like it's about to sink its proboscis into Cantriel's neck, Griveth comes in and just sort of clang and knocks it aside. That's a 9. Griveth, another one, as you're doing this, comes up behind you. But as you move to block the one attacking Cantriel, it misses you. And the one
I can't stay mad at you, Cantriel.
I'm rolling my eyes and just like, now is not the time.
Talmud, an 18? 18 hits you. Talmud, you're going to take 6 points of piercing damage, and as its proboscis just it attaches to you. You are not grappled because it's so small, but it is currently attached to you. And the last one is going to attack evens as Fig, odd as Thorgarn, odd as Thorgarn. That is a 19 on the die, so that is going to be a 24 to hit Thorgarn. As
it hits me easily.
As this one comes in, you take 5 points of piercing, and you also, both dwarves have stirges attached to them. And
right,
two,
so it's 5?
Yes, 5 piercing. And 2 more are flying loosely. It is now Fig's turn.
You see Fig, in the few seconds that has been had since this whole attack happened, Fig, you can see his head just kind of tracking each one almost simultaneously. And he outstretches his hand, and I almost imagine this kind of like Iron Man who has the thing
The arc
on his
reactor.
hand, and I can just imagine Fig just outstretches and just as these bolts of these balls of light come flashing out, and he is going to do magic missile.
Which ones are you targeting?
All of them, because I'm going to upcast it, so I have 4 darts.
All right, Fig. What does it look like? Because the minimum you can do on a
That's 2.
is 2 on a magic missile. So what does it look like as you kill the 4 remaining stirges?
You see Fig just with this, no pun intended, robotic precision, just aim, and his hand glows, and all of these different light points come out. And I imagine the 2 ones that are free flying, they just kind of explode. But the ones, unfortunately, that are attached to the dwarves, they also explode. And so you are covered in stirge
Ephemera.
Yeah.
Thorgarn, you actually make a survival check.
Survival, huh?
I'm gonna have you do this at advantage.
At advantage. All right. Well, the first roll was good. Second roll was absolutely not. It's a 22.
All right, so you save against malaria. No, I'm just kidding. You get malaria. No, you realize that as this thing explodes, it's a large part of what bursts across you is this thing's own innards and blood, but it was also filled with orc blood.
That's nasty.
But thanks to Fig, you are all out of combat.
So I walk up to Fig and slap Fig on the back. Trying to get a metal. I was trying to get the metal sound. So I slapped Fig on the back and I said, oh, this mechanical man has shown you all up.
Some of us actually managed to swing our weapons, Griveth.
Wouldn't that mean he showed up you too?
No, I killed 2 of them. Sir
Yeah.
Dwarf.
So, but he killed 4. He did twice as good as you. And you're
Well,
laughing at us.
I guess if you put it that way.
He technically bested your best.
Just saying. I didn't even pull out my blades yet. I was still laughing at Talmud. My weapons. I never even drew my weapons.
Good job, Fig. Good job. I'm glad we brought you.
Did I do an adequate job? It seems like your opinion has changed. Is it based on my fighting prowess against those insects?
That it has, yes. That has helped. You're definitely skilled. And I suspect you probably don't lie like some other people or deceive.
I look over to Talmud, and I just kind of like.
All right, friends, shall we move on?
So it's a shame these things we're eating orcs. Their wings can be tasty.
I think I'll pass on that delicacy, but
Oh,
good to know.
Talmud is washing himself in the water, trying to get the orc blood and the bits of the stirge off of himself.
I'll too go over to the water and start rinsing myself off. Every once in a while, splash the dwarf next to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say when he starts to approach, Talmud actually kind of like starts, and then he like gets up and moves a few feet away from him.
So
what's the matter, cuz?
Griveth also tries to wash off a little bit maybe from the smell, but I have full armor on, so I can't really. I'm basically washing my face. So
I'm rinsing my armor off too, so that's mostly what's covering me.
As they're all cleaning the goo off of them, Cantriel, you can just kind of notice that, as I said earlier, you have the passageway to the south, but the river is flowing, the stream is flowing north to south and disappears into a 5-foot alcove of rock. But you can also see that it's flowing out of the stone wall. There's about a 10-foot high, 5-foot wide gap, and the river seems to flow out of the darkness from somewhere further in that you can't really see. And then there's that stairway that leads upward.
So technically, both openings are feasibly passable due to size for the stream areas.
Yeah, if you decided you wanted to follow the stream, you could either way, to the north or the south. You could, to the south, Griveth and Cantriel and Fig would probably have to crouch down a bit. But you could absolutely follow the river up or down.
I think I'm gonna check we came in from the north, right?
You came in, let me just bring the map up again real quick.
We came in from the east.
You came in from the east at the northern corner. So you guys came in from that little crab claw thing. Okay. So you can see where it kind of disappears up and around. Again, my mouse does nothing to help you.
All right, then I think I'd probably get into the stream as well, and while they're all splashing and everything, just sort of wade up in towards the northern entrance and see if I could look in a little bit more and, see if this is something that continues through to another area.
Okay.
And I do have the dark vision.
Yep. So after about 30 feet, it kind of doglegs to the northwest. And it continues flowing from that direction for about another 30 or 40 feet. And you can see that there's a small offshoot to your left.
Do I hear anything besides just the water?
All you can hear is the sound of the water crashing and burbling and.
All right, I'll backtrack to the rest of the group then and inform them of what I found.
So, what's up there?
Well, there's a split in another little passage, so we might actually be able to go through this to get elsewhere as well, instead of through some of the tunnels.
I don't know how much Talmud's gonna like that, but I have no problem with it.
Not really. But I mean, if I suppose you insist, why?
It's the not obvious way.
Less chance of someone to be using it to get in and out. Not exactly convenient, but
that is a good point. That is a good point. But if we get attacked, we're not gonna have any room to defend ourselves.
Well, not all of us are over 6 feet tall there, Mr. Griveth, sir.
Good point. Good point. Yes.
I just think it's an awful lot of trouble to go through just to avoid a fight. I mean, what's so wrong with a fight? That's what we came here for.
Comfortable with the water, are you?
What? Comfort is exactly the point. It's not comfortable.
So,
water
empties his boot.
I agree.
Fig, you have any issues with the water? Was you mostly made of metal?
Surely, Fig. You don't see the point.
And Fig would look at himself. I did live in complete underwater for the last few years.
No, well.
I did not think a little bit of water would hurt. Talmud, I believe what you are doing is a word that I learned recently is called posturing.
What?
and putting
I don't even know what that
your
means.
ideas onto others, perhaps? You seem to have and you seem to want to avoid the water.
I just don't understand the whole point, really. I mean, like I said, if that's what everybody else would like to do, then that's fine. But it's just silly.
It's not really about avoiding the water, right, Talmud? It's about having room to fight.
Yes, exactly that, Griveth. Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't care either way which we end up going. I just figured I'd let you know that there's another option as opposed to just going through the tunnels.
Oh, I do appreciate it.
Is that where the... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Is that where the stirges came out of? Or did they come out somewhere else?
They came from above you. That's all you knew.
Okay.
This cavern's pretty high, probably about 40, 50 feet high.
Okay.
So they could have been up above. They could have come from down the river channel. If y'all weren't, as my grandma used to say, grab assing around, you might have seen where they came from.
But in the direction that they flew in would be the direction that we were heading, right?
They came from above you. Remember, you looked up.
Yeah. Okay.
They literally
Just,
came
like,
down
straight
from
up?
above. Yes, they came from above you,
Oh.
not up like north, up like above your head,
Okay.
like
Never
this.
All right.
All right.
So-
Got it.
So, Cantriel, since you scouted out ahead, would you prefer stairs or stream?
Quite frankly, it doesn't matter to me. Whatever is the majority vote.
Obviously, Talmud wants stairs. What about you, Griveth?
Definitely stairs. I don't feel comfortable going in that confined space.
And Fig, do you have opinion, a choice?
I do not know the tactics for fighting in a cave, so no, I am sorry.
Cantriel, make me a insight check.
Okay. That's going to be an 8. Or I could always,
Actually, I want to have the dwarves do it as well.
Awesome. I like insight checks. The 16.
Talmud. I don't know what it was, but
that was a 6 total.
Jeremy is always very expressive. Cantriel, I think it's probably the being deep underground, and your favored terrain is forest, so you're very out of your element and you can't quite get your bearings. But Thorgarn, as you guys are kind of figuring out what you want to do, and you're looking at these stairs, you remember that you guys came around the mountain and you took a back entrance down into the lower depths. That there's a good chance that these stairs lead up towards the area that you bypassed.
So
it's not to say that you don't want to go there, but you don't know how, well, to put it fair, you guys do know you are delving into Kundrakar, but you don't know how many levels are above you, nor do you know if there are any or how many are below you.
But potentially it could be leading us towards where we were trying to skip.
That's, you kind of get that sense based on where you entered and where this goes. It could potentially lead that way.
So what's the terrain like here? Is it like stony ground?
Yes, stony ground. Everything has a sheen of sort of wetness to it. That and there's these. It almost looks like there are just chips and shards of gems glistening in the walls that sort of give it that that glittering look.
So I'm gonna, like, all right, let's gather in here. Yeah, and I'll kind of, as loosely as I can. I am not the artist here, but I'll draw like a circle to represent the mountain. Be like, all right, this is the door we tried to skip. We went around, went to the back, and we went lower down. If we go up those stairs, isn't that gonna just put us right at the front door that we were trying to not go through, to not deal with all of the orcs all at once?
Oh, we're not coming through the back way?
I think based on where we've traveled, I think we're heading back to the front of the mountain. Should we head off past further in where the big lizards were and see if there's another passage? If our friends are uninterested in traversing in the water?
Well, we could, but we don't know what's down there, for one. And
Well,
we've already run into several things.
We don't know where anything is specifically.
Right.
But
at least if we move up, we know we're moving towards where we want to go.
Right, but there's potentially lots of orcs, and we don't want to face them all at once.
We won't. It'll be on our terms.
Well, you and I clank a lot, Griveth, so we're not as stealthy as we would like to be.
I'd much rather not double back unintentionally and end up where we didn't want to be in the first place.
Agreed.
So
very wise.
I'll point back towards where the lizards and the bear was. That way?
Yes, but how's everyone holding up?
Well, I don't seem to be any worse the wear. I think the stirge just took a bit of the magic out of what Griveth here did. Mind you, I want to have a conversation about that when we get a moment to breathe.
I have a wound from the stirge and a few from the fights we had before, but I can keep going if we need to.
Well, if you feel you need a rest, pipe up. Even if it's just a short one to collect our thoughts.
It wouldn't be a bad idea. I could at least get dry.
So do we want to backpedal away from the water and potentially more of them bugs and kind of eat a bit?
Sounds good.
So you guys are going to head back into the cavern you just vacated.
Aye, sir.
And am I hearing that you guys are wanting to kind of take a
short rest?
Take a shorty?
Sure.
All right. So at this point, you guys have made 0 progress in tonight's adventure. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right, so you guys are gonna go ahead and take a short rest. You can use any hit dice that you might have, and
I could also add Song of Rest to it.
Cantriel being the bard. What does a Song of Rest sound like? I'm not trying to force you to sing if you don't want to, but
oh no, I know they have things prepped. She's probably gonna actually sort of tuck herself away, so she can still keep an eye on the group, but she's definitely not depressed, but thoughtful. So you're just gonna softly hear her singing while the rest of you are kind of taking your rest, and she's just gonna start sort of like a soft, almost like a lullaby. Make believing we're together, that I'm sheltered by your heart, and in and outside I turn to water like a teardrop in your palm. And it's a hard winter's day. I dream away. It must have been love, but it's over now. From the moment we touched till time had run out. It must have been love, but it's over now. It's where the water flows. It's where the wind blows. And then you're all going to get a nice little D6 added to your HP.
And Talmud, you better hope to the gods that Cantriel doesn't see you doing that.
She honestly wouldn't have.
As
Can I insight to see whether there was anything behind that particular song at this moment?
Sure.
That is 22.
I don't know, Cantriel. Was there anything?
Oh yeah.
Well, if you want to, you can message me with what is there, either in Zoom or Facebook.
So
all right, I'll do that in Zoom.
As you guys are taking your short rest, and Cantriel sort of tucks into the corner and sings this song, and you feel bolstered just a little bit by it. You spend your hit dice, recharge any features that recharge on a short rest. And as your song sort of trails off, Cantriel, and you're just sitting there resting, as this rest will take about an hour, and everybody's just sort of cleaning and just breathing and healing up. As you're sitting there, Cantriel, you hear a voice, a whisper, as if somebody is standing right next to you. And in your ear, you hear, Cantriel. And it is your mother's voice. And that is where we're going to take a 10-minute break to allow you to think about that. Thank you to everybody who's hanging out with us in the chat. Quite a lot of people here with us tonight. Thank you to everybody who stopped by. I see Gamers Theater in there. I see Nate, WASD, WASD20. Jeremy, the other Jeremy, as we like to say. I saw Karen in there earlier. Dracoxnix, I'm not sure how you say that. Grandma Abtab, Granny Carol in there, and Check for Traps, our friend Alan stopping by, and many others. Thank you for stopping by. We greatly appreciate it. Ask that you think about sticking around. I mean, absolutely go use the bathroom if you need to, get a drink. But we have a new promo reel with announcements and other things happening during the break here. So we're going to cut to the new break screen. We are going to take a 10-minute break, and we will be back right after that. So we will see you back here in about 10 minutes. Let's mute. Hey, Internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is The Intermission. Mini Terrain Domain, or MTD, is a channel dedicated to the love of and participation in the world of tabletop role-playing games. Whether we're designing encounters or miniature terrain, building worlds or dice towers, or just playing games, everything we do here is because we love this amazing hobby. That is why the mission statement of Mini Terrain Domain is simply imagine, build, play. If you like to watch live play or actual play D&D games, you can do so at twitch.tv/Mini Terrain Domain 3 days a week at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. On Sundays, you can join us for Cult of Personality, a long-running campaign set in the Tomb of Annihilation adventure setting. On Mondays, you can join us for All That Glitters, a Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign guaranteed to be epic proportions. And every Thursday night, you can join us for Dawnbringers, the Forge of Fury. This is a series of mini campaigns going across the gamut of several well-known modules. Season 1, which is available on youtube.com/mini-terrain domain, took place in the Sunless Citadel. And Season 2 is currently taking place in the Forge of Fury. If you can't join us in the chat for our live shows, that's okay. You can usually catch the roleplay, or rather the replay, on YouTube just 2 days later. If you're a fan of what we do here and you'd like to support what we do, there are a variety of ways you can do this. First, simply follow the Twitch channel or hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Next, make sure you follow all of the participants of each game or show on their various social media platforms. To do this, if you're watching live with us on Twitch, you can simply type an exclamation point and that person's name into the Twitch chat, or on YouTube, you can look down below the information bar and all of their links can be found there. Finally, if you would like to provide monetary support, which flows right back into the production of the channel so we can continue making great content, you can join the growing list of patrons on Patreon. Additionally, you can also use Ko-Fi or Coffee to buy a coffee or two. I like coffee. But the absolute best way to support the channel is to follow and subscribe on Twitch and YouTube and join us in the chat. If you have an Amazon Prime account and you link it to your Twitch account, you can subscribe 1 channel per month absolutely free. No matter what you decide to do, we are just happy to have you here. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more great content in just a few moments. Remember, metadata!
Hi everyone, I'm V and I have the YouTube channel, The Crafting Muse. Please be sure to go over there and check it out if you too would like to learn how to make some tabletop terrain, paint miniatures, as well as some game accessories. I'm always happy to have new subscribers over there.
And we're back. It looks like my awesome promo trailer crapped out after about 4 minutes, so sorry about that.
And I think
I'm not
I
sure.
screwed up our cameras.
Yeah, we need to have not everybody. Jeremy, you definitely need to shut yours off. Megan, turn yours off.
Thanks.
Scotty. Yeah, everybody turn them off. I don't remember the order we turned them on again. Anybody remember that? Cantriel, you're in the right spot. Talmud, turn yours off. Scotty. Nope. Scotty off. Jeremy, I think it was. Jeremy?
Yeah, I activated mine, but it's not showing up. Oh, there it goes.
Okay, there you are. Then let's try Ted. Nope. Megan after Ted. Megan's good. Now it's Ted. Then it's Scotty. We'll get this fixed. Okay. Before we get back into the game, V has something she would like to announce. You muted, V. You're pulling a Scotty / Michael.
Yeah. Lovely gentleman, by the way. Unfortunately, the person who was announced this afternoon as the winner for the Crafting Muse Pump Up the K giveaway didn't fall into the rules of how the contest was working. So that means I went to the second person whose name came up. So this means that the Muse's Touch on Twitter, she has won the Crafting Muse swag, which is the magnet, the Crafting Muse D6, as well as a sticker and a seat at one of my Patreon patron games where I'll be running my homebrew that I'm using for D&D in a castle. So I will also announce this on Twitter. But if you are here and watching, then congratulations! That's my big
Very
announcement.
cool.
Yay.
Very cool. And I'm not going to re-announce it, but I'm putting the link up in the chat. There is currently a mini terrain domain Game Masters Bundle 10K subscription on YouTube, a drive going on right now. The prizes are listed right there, along with the link where you can enter in a variety of ways. So, as we left off at the end of the break, as everybody was sort of, or kind of in the break, not at the end of the break, within the short rest that everybody's taking after Cantriel had sung her song of rest, she heard a familiar voice, and only Cantriel heard this, whispered in her ear, Cantriel. And that's where we're going to pick up.
Hearing that, I'll sit up like bolt upright and looking extremely startled, just look around me just to see if there's, first of all, anyone by me or if anyone else heard it.
There's no one immediately near you. You're back up against the wall. And looking around, everybody just seems to be minding their own business, doing their own thing. Nobody else is giving an indication that they heard anything.
Then I'm just going to softly whisper, Mama?
There is no answer. But you do, there's a presence, not really like a physical presence, but a sensation, almost like a dream. Like if you've ever had a dream where you're bridging the gap between consciousness and unconsciousness, and your dream leaves you in a state of sleep paralysis, but you feel that you're still in the same, you're lying in your own bed or lying in the cavern against the wall, and you sense, you're 100% positive that there is a familiar presence next to you. And as you try to acknowledge that presence that accompanied that voice, it dissipates like smoke in the wind. As
So oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, as Cantriel is sort of privately dealing with this, what are the rest of you doing?
So I'm gonna go over to Griveth while we're resting and chowing down on whatever trail rations and stuff we might have had with us. So Griveth, you follow Eldath. You called upon holy power. What do you see yourself as? How did you acquire this gift?
You know, I've never really talked about it. It wasn't by choice.
Well, I find it interesting. You say it wasn't by choice. You might not look at it by seeing me, but I was actually raised to become a priest. The clan where I come from, the dwarven gods, Moradin, Clangadin, we look to these dwarven gods for so much, and before I started this short little travel with all of you, I was off on a pilgrimage to actually be welcomed into the priesthood, and clearly we were not successful. We were the orcs in this area set upon our caravan, slew basically everyone, and I've been trying ever since to try and figure it out. And was it a message that I wasn't worthy? Was it a message that I'm not there yet? So how do you call upon your power? How do you feel worthy? What? Explain. Tell me.
Most of the time, I feel unworthy. Actually, I was just a simple soldier before I became what I am now, and friend, I would not worry, because you will find your path. And I know this because there is someone guiding you on your path.
Are you talking about Father Griffin? And I kind of point over my shoulder.
Yes.
Do you see him? Do you have you spoken with him?
I feel him.
Uh,
He is with you.
he does give me counsel, and I know most people kind of look at me like I'm mad when I'm speaking to no one, but it does help. But there's times that I question the rage at all of my brethren who fell, trying to escort me and a handful of other acolytes to a holy temple, um, that perhaps we weren't destined for that.
Perhaps, but clear your mind. I find that when my mind is troubled and when I fret over I don't deserve this, and I don't deserve this power, and why was I chosen? In those moments of clarity, when I clear my mind, that's when the answers come to me. We strut and upon the stage, we strut upon the stage of life, and we worry about everything, and you just need to have those moments of clarity where you just clear your mind, and then it will come to you. It will come to you.
So then allow me to kind of offer the same. Why do you feel that you're not worthy, or sometimes that you're not worthy of those powers?
I am not. I am not one that is learned. I am not. I am not schooled. I was just a simple soldier. I can, I can barely read and write. And I had no training to be a messenger of Eldath. I've never had any schooling or training. It was only when I had my conversion, my miracle, that I became who I am.
It does not require knowledge to be a champion of justice, to be a force for a deity. It requires conviction. It requires belief. Do you feel that you have these things?
I do, yes.
I am no student of Eldath, but I'm aware. I have I've studied religion, and I know of the gods that are common in this area, but typically, and I've known a fair few wizards in my time, fair few sages. Those that spend time with books and libraries don't typically take up the sword and don't typically take up faith. Not to say that any path is right or is wrong, but if you're gonna be have power bestowed upon you, it is gonna be for a reason. So
Have you talked to Talmud about the experience we had in our last adventure, where he actually called on his spirit, and we actually called on his spirit ancestors, and he was able to communicate with them?
we've spoken a little bit. It appears that Talmud and I are walking a very similar path, though it appears he calls his ancestors to him differently than I do.
Perhaps when this is over, we can do the same with your mentor. We can bring your mentor forward, and you can actually speak with your mentor,
Well,
and not
I
just feel.
no, I can speak to him. He talks to me. He's right here.
Oh, I did not realize.
Oh yeah. That's what I said. I talk to him all the time, and there's others who kind of get freaked out when I just turn around and start talking to no one.
Thorgarn, you are a man of faith. I have something to ask of you.
Sure.
I've been having evil dreams of late, portents, dooms, and I feel that somehow it has tainted me. And I want, if you see any sign that I am turning, I want you to kill me.
Well, killing is a bit strong, and don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed to, I pull out my war pick. I'm not afraid of using it, but I tend to go there as a last resort for those that I would view as on my side. But if we have to, we have to. But I'd much rather see if there's an alternate way.
I don't think there will be.
No.
If I turn, I think that will be it.
Well, how about this? We'll do the best we can to keep the party safe and strong together.
Oh, always, yes.
And you keep talking to Eldath.
I will give my life for any one of these people, without question.
Now, I kind of take a moment of silence, look you up and down, realize that you're still almost twice as tall as I am. Look over at Fig, and be like, I'm happy to hear you say that.
Yes, this mechanical man is not just bits and parts. There's something there. I'm sensing it. I was skeptical to begin with, but I'm sensing there's something more there.
I feel that he's got a soul, same as you and I.
And although I'm troubled, my intuition is rarely wrong.
So
sorry, I couldn't even keep a straight face for that one.
So I'll kind of speak up a little bit. I'm not gonna yell. We don't want to completely just let everyone know we're here, but I'll kind of like turn back towards the group and everything that they're doing. So what say all of you? Are we ready to set out?
Yes. We see we're like taking all the time they've been ready. So yeah.
Well, like I said, this is all during the short rest.
Oh yeah, right, exactly.
Cantriel is over there, singing and sulking and what have you.
Singing, sulking, hearing voices. It's no big deal.
Same thing.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with hearing voices.
It's just a normal day in the Dawnbringers.
Well,
I mean, hey, why not?
I was going to say, at this point, I think Fig is the only one who isn't hearing
Their
voices. Yet. I guarantee you if Fig hears a voice, it's going to be a creepy little girl.
Oh, God.
That's an inside joke for Megan Horror Games.
Where's my toy?
Come play with us.
Come play with us, Fig.
One of us.
All right, so how would you all like to proceed?
Well, it looks like we're going to head back out into that bigger alcove, that bigger room where we fought the troglodytes. And proceed south on your map.
So you have two southerly chambers, one that's more in the southeastern edge of the cavern, or you have one that's a little more directly south that you can see that it splits into two different directions.
So, what do you think, dear friends?
Well, I suppose we should just go this way, he says very randomly, just like indicating to the right, and starts to head that direction.
Well, quite frankly, this is definitely more the element for the two of you than it is for the rest of us.
She's got the point.
I thought you were the one pointing.
No, he just walks off, just like not even finishing the conversation. So hefting Gerta.
Cantriel will just start walking after him.
Talmud, as you step into the corridor, I need you to make a dex saving throw. I'm just kidding. So
the first time Talmud takes the lead.
I genuinely thought about putting a pit trap there just for the no, but you hear a splorch. So you walk about 30 feet into this narrow passageway, and it narrows. It's about 10 feet wide. It narrows down a little bit as it continues in a southeasterly direction. But you can see immediately to your right that it cuts off into a smaller room. And in this room, you glimpse the same, you can sort of see that same sparkling on the walls. You can see the little bit of moisture that seems to trickle on all of these walls. At this point, you're kind of getting the sense that the trickles of water are coming from above, from the hillside above, seeping through the soil. But you can also just catch sight of what looks like, and it's hard to tell with the dark vision, but Talmud, you see what looks like a pile of gold. Like a mound of gold.
So he's kind of pressed up against the side of this opening, peering into the room, kind of scanning it, looking around, especially for anything that looks like it might be the little troglodytes that like to disguise themselves as rocks. And then his eyes set upon the glinting pile, the room. And Cantriel, I think you said you were not far behind Talmud.
Yeah, Cantriel would have been following, a little bit behind Talmud once she saw him sort of.
Yeah. So I think you probably hear.
I would have been right there as well.
So I think you probably. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit. You
Yeah.
went a little robot-y and.
Oh no.
No offense, Fig.
Well, how's it now?
Sounds
Better.
good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna roll with that for now. So you guys would see Talmud kind of pressed up against the opening, looking inside, and then all of a sudden he would kind of like tense, and you'd hear, oh, and he dashes into the room.
So you can see, as you sort of move into this room, you see the water seeping down from the hillside above, and you see that it's actually causing around this room. You can see that there is a profusion of fungus growing on the floors and walls. There's weird puffballs, tall mushroom caps, patches of mold in a variety of colors. And as you dash in, you realize that the mound of gold in the middle of the room is actually a golden carpet of mold that is covering a skeleton, an old skeleton in rusted mail. And you can just see a passageway to your left leading into another chamber, and you can glimpse another pile of this, what you can now discern is gold mold growing on another skeleton. But the one in the which one is it? The one closest to you, actually. In addition to that, now that you've kind of run right in and it's right in front of you, you see grasped in its hand, the skeleton holds an impossibly gleaming sword. And even looking at it now, as it's held, no rust touches this sword. You see the mark of Durgadin the Black on the blade near the hilt. This skeleton appears to be holding the first of the fabled blades of Durgadin, the blacksmith or the black that you've heard so much about. And I think by the time Talmud dashes in here, of course, Cantriel and Thorgarn, you see it immediately as he just, whoa! And then Fig and Griveth, you would also notice as Talmud has, you can't really see what he's looking at, other than you can kind of catch hints of this gold. Though I believe Griveth is carrying a torch. You would probably notice that it doesn't sparkle and glitter like gold from your vantage point. Talmud, what are you doing?
Talmud has run up to this pile, and all of you now hear the echoes of an "oh," as the disappointment is readily available. But then he's like, "Oh, well," and he's going to bend down and pick up the sword to examine it closer.
As you grab the sword, of course, the hand has a moldy leather glove that was holding on to it, and it just sort of almost disintegrates. And as you pull this sword away, the sword is a long sword, and it just has this amazing balance to it. It has a nice heft. you can clearly see the mark of Durgadin the Black. And it feels like there's something special about this sword. Thorgarn and Cantriel, you see Talmud bend down and pick up this incredible sword.
What you find there, cousin?
Yes. This is your proper dwarven blade. And he'll actually turn around and bring it over to Thorgarn to see.
As you turn around, you hear as the skeleton begins to collapse in on itself. As it does so, you hear, and the cloud of mold spores burst into the air all around you, Talmud. Thorgarn and Cantriel, I think, unless you specifically followed him into the room, you would be safe outside in the hallway. But Thorgarn, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, and I believe you have advantage.
Talmud?
Or Talmud.
Thorgarn and Talmud, okay.
Yeah, Talmud. But I believe you have advantage on this, correct?
Against poison?
Yep.
Yes. All right. That is going to be a total of 17.
You managed to avoid actually breathing in any of these spores. You can see, or as a reminder, you did see a small passageway leading to another mold-covered skeleton to the southeast. But anyway, yeah, so Cantriel and Thorgarn, and then the others behind them, you see as Talmud turns around with the sword, like, "Hey guys!" as these spores fill the air behind him.
So could you remind us all again about who Durgadin the Black was?
Durgadin the Black is a ancient or legendary blacksmith that was at war with the orcs hundreds of years ago. And when overrun, he escaped to Kundrakar. And it is believed that that is this the stone tooth that laid north of Blazingdell for so long. And about 100 years ago, it was learned a little bit more about it, and that's where you got your information.
Where?
He's the one whose blades you guys have been. Well, it was believed that's why the orcs were searching for this location. And Cantriel was the only one who actually knows this, but the gentleman by the name of Baron, I think he was a lord, if I remember correctly.
Baron Elman.
That approached Cantriel asking for.
It was a tiefling merchant, Baron Elfin.
Yes.
Yep. That I have written down.
Yep. So anyway, you turn around and.
Well, that's a pretty fancy blade you got there, cousin.
Yes. It's got the mark on it. Look here. He kind of produces the hilt in his direction.
That's very nice.
We should
didn't
feel
actually
about
think
those.
we'd actually find some.
I expected that we would find some, but certainly not in this kind of condition. This is
brings
rare.
brings up something that I wasn't going to mention unless it was necessary, but remember when I stormed out of the tavern? Just to have some quiet time?
Yeah, it was after Griveth just showed up.
Yes.
He kind of elbows Thorgarn in the ribs.
Well, I was approached by an interesting gentleman of the tiefling variety, and he made it clear that he's rather interested in this place, wanting information, wanting maps, and notably so blades. If one was brought back to him, he'd be willing to negotiate.
Hmm.
So he wants to purchase a dwarven sword?
It appears so, and he wants information on this place itself. Quite frankly, I didn't give it much thought or time of day because I didn't really expect to find what he was looking for.
Well, I didn't really get I didn't get to meet the guy, so I can't really give a measure of the man. But aren't generally tieflings known for deceiving?
Well, that's usually something to keep in mind. His name was Baron Elfin, if that rings a bell for you at all.
Does that name ring a bell to me at all, Jake?
Make a history check.
Yeah. What does it say on the dial? 13.
You may have, like, the name has that ring of something you've heard, maybe around town, but you can't really put a face to the name or a reputation.
I might have heard the name before, but I mean, I got nothing to go with it.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, these are your people's artifacts.
Well, I'm happy to hear you say that.
I leave it up to you
As
if
am
you
I.
want to try and make profit from it, but like I said, he was overly charming, and he waited for me to be alone, which usually never means any good come from proposals that are given in that situation.
Now, as a whole, dwarves are not really known for wanting to part with things that they consider theirs.
Oh, you don't say. And she's
No.
going to look at Talmud.
Can we tell if it's magical or not?
Make an Arcana check.
Well,
Cantriel.
Anybody?
Talmud was kind of offering it to me, and he said, "Feel the balance."
Oh, actually, yeah, no, I probably should
So,
check.
so I have Faith Keeper, and I know what the balance is like on that Warhammer. So, is it comparable to that?
Well, I got a 19 on an Arcana.
I mean, it is a very well crafted blade. This is a blade crafted by somebody who has honed their skill over hundreds of years.
But does it look to be more than just well crafted?
The fact that it bears no rust or any other signs, not even the mold grew upon it. In Cantriel, you can even sense just this, it's this sort of vibration in the air, that attunement to magical energies, that it just seems to sort of emanate from this. Though you don't know exactly what, you get the sense that this is indeed a magical blade of some kind. Fig, as they're all kind of looking and talking about this blade and all this stuff, you're kind of able to get a good look inside the room where the skeleton collapsed, and you can see the spores kind of floating around a little bit. And as the skeleton collapsed in on itself, you see that the head rolled free and rolled a couple of feet towards the door. And the head has a, which is pretty much just a skull, but it is wearing an ornate looking steel helmet with silver chasing.
Intrigued, I think, by this specimen. Fig is going to walk over to the head of the skeleton, and I think that he would take the helmet off of the head, because he is more interested in the head than the helmet.
Well, you have a human skull that's in pretty fair condition. Do you like pick it up and then drop the helmet, or how do you do that?
I think after trying to take the helmet off, he would drop it. You would hear this like clanging noise as he just kind of tosses it.
Yeah, you hear a clang as Fig drops what appears to be a quite valuable helm. And Fig, as you're looking at the skull, you see that this cavern, which in all told is about 20 feet across and about 40 feet long, to your left, it narrows down to a little less than 10 feet. And there's another small chamber with another skeleton. And you can see another helmet and another skull.
Further intrigued and wanting to get another for comparison, Fig would just wander over to the skeleton with the skull in his hand.
All right. Yeah, you clearly see it's covered in this sort of gold mold, and you don't see any special sword. You see a rusted blade still in a moldy leather scabbard. You see a couple of arrows embedded in what's left of the armor scraps sticking out of the mold. And you can see, partially covered by this mold, is the helmet and the skull, with its bone white grin staring up at you.
I think that Fig would take one look at the people, at the others, sorry, doing their thing, and he would turn back to the head and slowly reach down and try and take it off.
The head and the helmet remove with ease. Spores erupt from the gold mold all over the skeleton, and I need you to make a Constitution saving throw. Do you have any immunities or resistances to poison?
I have advantage on saving throw against being poisoned, and I have resistance to poison damage, and I'm immune to disease.
Okay, so you can make this roll with advantage.
That's a 15.
And I'm just realizing I'm hearing you roll real dice.
I know.
It's exciting. You feel as some of these spores begin to enter into your systems. But they don't seem to be able to find any purchase in any sort of respiratory system, at least not any ordinary respiratory system. And you are unaffected, having just made your save. Do you also take this helmet off and drop it on the ground?
Yes, and and Fig would come back to the group, and a little bit away while he's walking, you see his body just kind of vibrate a little bit, and you can see all of these spores just like behind him as he's like walking and trying to get it all off of him before he reaches the others. And if Fig could smile and grin, he would be grinning from ear to ear as he holds these two skulls.
Fig, darling, what do you have there?
I have some very peculiar specimens here. Are they human, the skulls?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
All right. Now, Fig, I understand your curiosity, but normally we don't go picking up the skulls of dead bodies and carrying them around. So, what is it you're thinking about doing with them, dare I ask?
Well, they are already dead, so I do not see the worry. I do not think that they will need it anymore. And he looks down. I don't know. I had an urge to pick them up because I thought they might have looked like my master. And I could see if they were similar.
Correction, they are dwarven skulls.
Oh.
which you have never seen before. So the skeletal structure is very similar, though now that you have them in your hands, you can maybe perceive a bit of the difference.
It's there's pretty much proof right here that dwarven skulls are thicker. Proof of how hard-headed we are. So, my friend, the Cantriel is right. As you say, like they're dead, they don't need them anymore. But if you go walking around with skulls, people might get the wrong idea as to what kind of wizard you might be, and certain wizards don't get on well in town.
No, and it's going to make things a little bit more difficult for you as well.
What kind of wizards are those?
The ones who play with dead things, necromancers.
What was that metal sound? Did you drop something?
He was wearing a piece of armor. I didn't think it important.
You mean a helmet?
Yes, it is over there, and one over there.
Well, in this case, not important to him anymore, but they might prove helpful to some of us here who are currently living.
Were they rusted?
So I'll go over and pick one up.
The first one in the first room?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You bend over to pick it up. You disturb the spores in doing so. I need you to make...
I thought these spores were already disturbed.
Some of them were. This whole area is carpeted in them.
That's a 16.
So you are not affected by them, though they're a bit of a nuisance. This is a steel helm with silver chasing around the edges, and it looks to be in pretty good shape and easily worth about 110 gold pieces.
So I rub the sides clear and I look at it. Is it, other than the silver, is there anything that looks nifty about it? Any markings? Anything?
It looks to be a pretty mundane piece of armor. It's made of steel and silver.
Yeah. I don't know. Talmud, what do you think? Can I put it on? Clearly, not too thrilled about covering up the mohawk.
I need you to make a wisdom save. No, I'm just kidding. One of these days I'm going to say that, and I'm not going to be kidding. So yeah, Thorgarn puts on a helmet and is showing it off to you there, Talmud.
Sure. Your hair's kind of, well, it might be an improvement.
What? Okay. Why?
It protects your noggin.
It's definitely a look.
But which one's better? I take it off.
On.
Helmet.
Oh.
Fig would turn to Cantriel. I apologize if I have offended. I will keep in mind next time. I am not used to traveling with others who need other things from me.
I understand, Fig. You're just trying to learn the way of things.
So,
No offense taken. It was an honest mistake.
I'd be more than happy to, tell you whatever I can about the skulls. And like you said, they really serve no purpose to whoever once laid claim to them. I'm just worried more about what people might be thinking about you if you're carrying around a bunch of dead skulls.
How about one dead skull? I only need one.
You saw what happened back at the wagon, right? We buried the remains. It's a sign of respect. that we have for the dead, and we have traditions that we respect our dead. And Thorgarn, I would let you do if you want to do, say, a blessing for the dead before we move on, since these are your kin, these are your people.
It's there's a lot of spores in this area. I think if we go figure out this this mission, once everything is said and done, we can get this place properly cleansed by the clan, the kin. That sound about right, cousin?
Yes, I certainly don't think that we need to be stopping every time we come across a body. I fear that there's going to be many here.
Understood.
But Griveth, I definitely appreciate the thought.
I defer to both of you as it is your folk.
And Fig, do you have a satchel, a backpack? Then,
or are parts of your body open and you can have like compartments in your body?
No, I no. But put it deep in your backpack so it's not accidentally fall out. Take it out, when you're around people that you trust, and you should be fine.
Fig would nod, and Fig would go and place the one skull by the skeleton, not in the other room, but in the room that they're in, and then take the other skull and place it deep within his bag.
Now the question is, did you return the skull to the proper body? Or
we shall see. I mean, nothing. All right, you've collected a sword. You've collected.
So did I have a chance to give the sword a couple swings?
I mean, it's got really nice balance. Cantriel determined that it has magical properties. It'll take you either an identify spell or the entirety of a short rest to be able to fully identify its properties.
So Talmud found it, so I'd hand it back to him. So this obviously continues on, or does it continue?
Nope. These two little caverns are dead end. So you'd have to backtrack out, and you'd be able to continue heading south along the passageway.
So, Talmud, do you want to keep the lead, or do you want me to take point?
Why don't you take point?
All right, then so be it.
A hellhound can be heard barking in the cavern. So you continue heading through this, at times 5 foot wide, at times 8 foot wide, slightly irregular tunnel.
Does it still appear to be natural or
Yep.
rough carved?
Yep, it's natural.
If it shifts into more dwarven made or non-dwarven made but still smooth carved, let me know. Yeah, that is what Thorgarn is paying attention to. The stonework will be more telling to him than sights and sounds. Yep. Otherwise.
So after only about maybe 75, 80 feet, this passageway suddenly opens up into what can best be described as the Glitterhame proper. This great cavern glimmers with a faint phosphorescence. The ceiling is almost 50 feet overhead, and bright flecks and gleaming stone formations are visible in the distance. Patches of strange fungi dot the floor, including capped stalks standing as tall as a human and glowing puffballs almost a yard wide. High ledges rise 15 to 20 feet above the floor on the north, south, and west walls. Narrow passageways lead off to the north, which would be the one you just came through, and to the south. And a flight of carved stone stairs descends from the western ledge to a path that meanders through the center of the chamber toward a small iron door in the eastern wall. Audible throughout the entire chamber is the sigh of a soft, cool breeze that rises toward the surface above. This passageway is, or rather this cavern, is about 100 feet across from where you stand to the southernmost ledge that rises about 15 feet. From looking to your left and your right, to the east, the room sort of narrows, and to the west, there is a section that rises about 10-15 feet high. You can just make out several stone sarcophagi with dwarven runes carved into them atop this ledge. To the lefternmost portion of that is a stone staircase leading up toward that ledge with the stone sarcophagi. All told, this room is about 100 feet across and nearly twice as long. You do have immediately to your left, the path sort of winds along another one of these ledges that leads back into an area that you can't see. But following along that way leads towards this small iron door set in the eastern wall. And there is a narrow set of stairs and passageway about 100 feet across to the south.
Thorgarn would be heading directly towards the sarcophagi.
Thorgarn, you immediately take off.
I don't go running.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm not saying that, but you're kind of moving in and around these giant puff balls and these fungal growths, and they don't seem to be making, doesn't seem to be anything hazardous about them as you just kind of move past them and around. There are sort of pathways that lead through them, and very quickly you are able to find a pathway that will take you towards this stair leading towards the sarcophagi. Does anybody else follow him as Thorgarn just sort of takes off? Talmud? Are the others following? Or are you staying behind? What are you guys doing? Looks like Fig's following.
I'm probably going to stay behind and have at least my bow ready, because this is a big room with unusual things, and my gut is saying, just in case.
I kind of
Griveth.
look at Cantriel and Fig and like, what should we do? What should I do?
I think Fig starts not to the sarcophagus, but would, I guess, take this as a permission to search the room. I would just begin to just kind of observe.
So you just
poking things.
Griveth is a bit upset because he's like, his whole thing is about protection. So it's like, he's like, there's some people going that way, and then Fig's running off that way, and Cantriel's, set up here, and I'm like, I'm confused. I don't know where to go. So I'm gonna kind of stay near Cantriel and Fig as much as possible.
Fig, were you actually kind of wandering around to investigate?
Or between the two.
Left or right? West or east?
Which where the sarcophagus is, he would go opposite.
Okay, perfect. So Thorgarn and Talmud, you begin moving through, and you kind of make your way over to where the stairs are and begin ascending towards this region of sarcophagi. Griveth staying kind of near Cantriel. Cantriel, give me a survival check.
$13.
You did not survive well enough. You're dead.
Bye.
As you watch Talmud and Thorgarn kind of just wantonly traipsing through these fungal growths, you also kind of realize, though they're foreign to you, they have a vague familiarity to other funguses you've seen, and their colorations and the way they grow, they have the markings of edible plant life. And they don't give any of the usual indications of anything poisonous. And Big, I would like you to give me an investigation check as you begin wandering along, you're heading more or less in the direction of this small iron door. While that's investigation roll is happening, Thorgarn and Talmud, you walk up the stairs into, it's almost like this is, while still sort of attached to this larger cavern, it almost seems like it's a separate cave, lit faintly by this natural phosphorescence. This one's ceiling rises also about 50 feet high. There are crystals glimmering softly in the eerie light. Weird, beautiful flows and structures of delicate stone grace this chamber. Thorgarn, this chamber has been deliberately carved by dwarven tools. The western portion of this great cave is, or this portion is on the western side of this great cavern and kind of sits up on this bluff about 15 feet high. There are dozens of stone sepulchres lining the cave walls, each of them carved with intricate reliefs and designs marked with dwarvish runes. What would you like to do?
You know where the dwarves are going to be for a long time. I want to study, see what's here, see if there's any names or people that I would recognize.
Did you get Megan's roll, Jake?
Yep, I will get to that. As you guys begin looking across these sepulchres, you see that the vast majority of these sepulchres have just dwarven names carved upon them. And none of them are names you really recognize. There are carvings along the walls that give the indication that Durgadin and his clan knew that they would probably not make it out of here. And part of their act of creating this hidden fortress of Kundrakar was to create their own tombs. Amongst the 23 sepulchres, across their lids, you see that each one of them has the likeness of a grim dwarf in armor. 3 of the stone coffins do have additional runes carved into them. These additional runes record the occupant's date of death and the great deeds that the dwarf performed in life. Also carved into these 3 coffins is a warning that doom awaits any who dare defile the honorable dead. The names on these 3 sepulchres are those of Borgol the Old, Garin Orkdoom, and Numik the Unlucky. Fig, as Thorgarn and Talmud are uncovering this, we see kind of over your shoulder as Griveth stands nearby Cantriel, who has her bow drawn and just sort of at the ready loosely. Griveth kind of looking almost desperately from Fig wandering in one direction, the dwarves up on the small bluff in this other little cavern, Cantriel nearby. Fig, you find yourself moving along this other bluff that rises about maybe 12 feet up to your left. You're about 30 feet away from this stone or this iron door, the steel door that is set into a section of the cavern that has a sort of squarish, straight walls carved. Like this is very clearly, deliberately carved, and this door obviously deliberately placed here. As you're about 30 feet away, you notice the stones from this little bluff sort of skittering and clattering down, a couple of them clinking off of the metal of your structure. They're coming up from your left, from up this bluff about 12 feet above. Do you look up to see the source?
Yes.
As you look up there, you see that it is this area to the north that sort of, you can tell that it extends further back. You get the sense of an extra space, but you can't quite, from where you are so close to it, there's just no way for you to really see, for you to really see what it is in there. But what you do see, leaning over the edge of this little bluff, you see what looks like some sort of a beak. And then you see a second beak. And then you see the beak. You see from each beak, slightly behind it, as 4 tentacles with barbs on the end, sort of, as these beaks click and clack. And then you see them rise up a little bit, even further, on serpentine bodies. Around each one of these creatures, you see another larger tentacle just sort of almost caressingly move across them. And you see an even larger one of these creatures rise up behind it. You hear their hissing sound as they lunge towards you. And of course, that's where we're going to end tonight's session. I will show you, I wish I could do this better, but I'm going to show you exactly what you guys, or what Fig sees is this. They are Gricks, if anybody wants to look that up.
Oh, they're fun.
Yes. We'll see how fun you think they are.
Oh, I've already had to deal with them thanks to another DM who likes to use tricks.
Not next week, but the week after, we will be returning. Next week is, in fact, 7 days from now is Valentine's Day. So we as a group decided that we are not going to be playing on that day. For those that may or may not remember that, we had this discussion
quite a while ago, actually.
It was actually quite a while ago, yeah.
I do know all of you guys, but not that much.
So we will be taking next Thursday off. I'm not sure if I can arrange it, because it is Valentine's Day. I may have plans. But if I can arrange it, I may actually run a rerun of one of our other episodes here in this time slot. But that is the end of episode 5. Welcome to the Glitterhame. In our Dawnbringers, The Forge of Fury campaign. I do want to thank each and every one of you who tuned in tonight. Some old friends, some new friends, everybody. Alan, it was great seeing you here tonight. I know I've seen you pop in on a few of the other streams. I've had the pleasure of playing both running game for and playing in game a game that Alan has run. Alan, check for traps. A phenomenal DM, well known in the absolute tabletop community. And all the other amazing people. We got subscriptions, resubs from we got a gift subscription. That's what it was, from Myth and Gears to Erasmus. So that earned you guys a domain die. For those of you that might be new here, you can see that we have a little bit of a blend of dice rolling and heavy RP. I'm never going to tell these guys to shut up and let's get moving, because their interactions, these narrative pieces, are the story. That's where the character development comes from. So be sure to check out, if you're watching this later on YouTube, you can see down in the description everybody's social media links. Of course, throughout the chat right now on here and archived for as long as the VOD is available on Twitch, you'll see that anytime somebody's name is typed, that their socials appear. We are going to, since the promo video I had at the break cut out halfway through mysteriously, I'm going to let each one of these wonderful people tell you where you can find them and what they got going on as we head out of here and call it a night for the next 2 weeks. So we're going to start with V this time.
Okay. So hi everyone, I'm V. I am the Crafting Muse. I have a YouTube channel where I show you how to make miniature terrain, paint minis, and do fun stuff basically for your tabletop games and all that wonderful things. You can find me on, what am I saying? Oh, you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. I am starting to upload a couple videos here and there onto my Twitch channel as well. That's going to be a slow and steady process. But yeah, so I'm kind of all over the place right now, mentally and literally. But this is a fun game. I always love my Thursday nights playing with you guys, hands down, no questions asked.
Thank you, V. Next up, Jeremy.
Yes, sir. Hey, everybody. I am Jeremy. I have the YouTube channel, the Erasmus Expeditions. I have live plays and videos where I talk about RPGs and things of that nature. I also have a couple of crafting videos. Yeah, I just love playing D&D, running D&D, and other games like it. So go over there and check it out. I'm also 1/3 of the Dudes of Yore podcast with my friends Jeff Doty and Chad Nick, also on YouTube. So go check those out as well. Yeah, playing Talmud is it's a very much a pleasure. It's a joy just to try to see how much trouble he can get into, whether he's finding a trap or he's opening his mouth when he shouldn't. It's a lot of fun, especially in this group of people. I show up to Thursdays and I always leave with my sides and my cheeks hurting. So thanks for letting me be part of it as always.
All right, next up is Ted.
Hey everybody, I am Ted, or Nerdarchist Ted, from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. If you like hearing about 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, talk and advice and stuff that you can put right into your game, check out us over on YouTube. We're all over social media if you want, funny memes and, nerdy related stuff. I'm, always, it's always a pleasure to play in this game. I was so happy that, Jake actually threw out the invite for me to join. This is, quite a deviation from a lot of the normal gaming that I get to do. And I love seeing that there are, other channels that are just, willing to just fully embrace let the people talk and role play. For me, the social aspect seems to be the more enjoyable of the pillars. So I'm all for it, and yay.
All right. Next up, Megan.
Hi everyone, I'm Megan, and I'm one half of the YouTube channel Dice on Ice, where we put out a new video every Sunday/Monday, and where we talk about different tips and tricks and advice, and we do description driven character creation. Or themed character creation. So tune in for those.
Excellent. And finally, Scotty.
Hey guys, I'm DM Scotty, the Craft Father. They call me the Craft Father. I have the DM's Craft. I've been doing it since 2012, so I've been around a while. I just noticed, I was like, wow, I've been doing this for a while. Okay, so so yeah, it's 2012. I've been slapping cardboard together and hot glue and making crap and saying, "Oh, here's a dungeon for you," and and a couple people liked it, so I'm still here. But so yeah, just type in the DM's Craft in the browser. I'm on YouTube. You can find that. Also, I have a venture with Gareth over at DMG Info, and we're doing quest givers. I'm really excited about this. I'm loving it. I'm loving the modules that we're making. They're so fun, so great. The last module we just made has a lot of puzzles, which is really cool. They're really super fun puzzles, as well as some cool encounters and stuff in this module. It's called the Knights of Old. And so it's our 4th module. We're making a module every month, and that is a challenge, I'm telling you, but we're cranking them out. And I'm happy with every single one of them. But we got 4 modules and 2 mini modules that actually are like almost like extra content for the modules. You can add a little more to the module by the mini modules, or just play them, on their own. But yeah, so that's us at questgivers.com. And yeah, these guys are so great. It's so fun. You never know, when you come into this game every week, you never know what's going to happen. I love that. You can never count on it. The characters are so fun and interesting, and as well as just the dangers that happen to us. And I like that I really feel in this game that the characters, we're not like metagaming the game. The characters do what the characters do. You know what I'm saying? And Jake's really good at going along with that and not punishing us for it necessarily, for not being, optimal tactics or whatever. But I love that. I love that the characters feel like the character's doing what the character is going to do. And it's not like, oh, let's set up this phalanx here, and then you'll snipe them from there, and then by all these tactics. Nothing wrong with that. That's cool. But I like that. I feel that the game is driven by the characters, and the characters are doing what they would do. It's not because it's some extraneous tactic that they feel they have to do. So I really like it, and just a fun time every time. So thanks again, Jake, and thanks again everybody for just making it so wonderful.
Well, thank you, Scotty, Megan, Ted, Jeremy, and V. I absolutely love getting to play with you guys on Thursday nights to run this game for all of you. You guys are so amazing in your roles that when I have a sudden thing I have to take care of at the beginning of the game, I just leave and you guys just go into character and carry things for easily 5 minutes while I was away. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that to see what the heck went down, because there was a moment when I came back where I was like, wait, are they in character? Okay, this sounds like they're in character. They're talking with accents. Yes, we're good. But I absolutely love this. I've put my own information there, all the places you can find me, Mini Terrain Domain. If you search Mini Terrain Domain on YouTube or Twitch or Twitter, you're going to find me. And I do these live play games. We post them up on YouTube, but I'm also doing original crafting content. I'm trying to get a schedule nailed down, but I'm doing live crafting streams over on YouTube, and I'm working with a couple of vendors that make some stuff, and some of my own designs. I'm going to be doing tutorials again, something I have not done in quite a while. One of my favorite videos that I did, you can watch it right now on YouTube, is how to make miniature treasure hoards. I have a brand new treasure mix that I've never seen anybody do this way before. So I'm going to be doing a new treasure hoard video with my new tutorial on how to make this treasure mix for really cheap, and it'll last you a really long time. And actually, you can, I was going to say, you can actually check out Dice on Ice. It actually has a treasure
coming out
video.
soon.
Or
We
no,
actually
okay.
followed
It's
Jake's
coming.
tutorial on making a treasure hoard, and it works.
Yes, that's the original one, and all I'm changing is the formula. I've changed out some of the formula and how the treasure hoard is mixed, and the way it's applied becomes so much easier. So stay tuned for all of that. Of course, you can keep up on all that by following me on at MTD_Jake on Twitter. And one last time, there is a contest going. I'm trying to drive the channel. We're less than 1,000 subs away from hitting the 10,000 mark on YouTube. So in honor of that, I'm doing a drawing in a couple months for 3 Game Masters bundles that include all kinds of crazy loot. Check the link out here or on Twitter. And one final thing that I want to do, I know we kind of, we've still got a few people here. So we are going to raid channel, see if I do this right. We're going to raid friend of the channel, and 2 of our players have played there, and one of them actually just DM'd her first game ever over on that channel today. We're going to raid Scraticus when we head over to the end channel. So when you show up, you'll be taken automatically to Scratch channel. When you show up there in the raid, just drop a metadata in the chat and let them know that we are there. That'll happen as soon as we go to the break screen after we fade out of here and after we end the stream, the same way we end every stream. And you can say it with me if you want. Metadata.